following is a special presentation from E-Star Studios. Carry harder. Are we alone? Or does other intelligence exist? Rise above anonymous. Make unknowable legendary. M4 Jakarta. Who are you? What do you want to become? The universe is yours. Are you ready to own the world?
Happy Sunday, North America! It's our last day here in the NACT Fall Season Semifinal, where your second and final champion to Vegas will be decided tonight and join the Valley in the glorious battle for M4 World Championship. I'm your host, Assassin Dave. With me on the caster desk today, the only potato who escaped from the factory of McDonald's and then became the king of all potatoes, our local, one and only, sexy and charming, organic, then GMO Mr. Private Dancer. Also with us today, I listen to his cast for all my bedtime ASMR needs. All the way from MPLPH, the legend himself, Mr. Naisu. How you guys doing today?
I'm feeling great. It's another day in the semi-finals here. It's going to be bittersweet as one is moving on and one is going home. But what more could you ask for here, casting alongside you, Dave, and a bright and early morning for Naisu in the Philippines.
Yes, good morning, America, and also, good morning, Asia. See, my brain's catching up with me. And good evening to everybody in America right now. Happy to be here. This is going to be a great matchup. I know this is technically, it could be a revenge match as well, so can't wait to get to it.
Of course. Now, before we get into the amazing match of the day, just a quick reminder to everyone how we got here today in the NACT Fall Season. We had over 100 teams who had the audacity, the courage to sign up to compete. And then the top 64 champions were selected based on the highest current season rank to battle in a brutal round of elimination. The remaining 32 teams then fought their way through another round of knockout stage, only 8 teams standing. Today is our very last day here in the top 8 double elimination stage with only one match remaining. I hope you are just as excited as all of us here in the PokerGo studio, where the grand finals will be hosted, where our next North America champions will hoist their NA Challenger Cup and prepare their journey for M4 World Championship. Private, with juicy roadmap comes juicy rewards. Why don't you talk to us through the NACT Fall Season prize money?
Yeah, that's exactly right. This prize pool being $30,000 in prizes, the highest yet from Moontoon for North America. You can see their first place going to be walking away with $10,000 and 75,000 diamonds. Second place going to be moving on with $3,000 and 1,000 diamonds. Third place is going to be walking away with $1,500 and 10,000 diamonds, and that is the biggest prize pool yet, and that is a lot of skins and starlights there, Naisu.
Yeah, so in total, I mean, it's massive, $14,500. 730,000 diamonds. That's a lot, right? So not sure what I would be doing with that, but like you said, that's a lot of starlights, a lot of skins out there. Also with the bracket, I mean, you guys already mentioned it. We're here at the end, right? This is the end of this until the grand finals. The Valley is just sitting there waiting patiently to see who is going to be their opponent for the grand finals. But the thing is, Vendetta and Simpsons, you know, in a way, this is a revenge match. The Simpsons got knocked down, right? It was a 3-2 the first time that they met. It was a best of 5, went the distance. And at the same time, I got to say, the Simpsons have been shutting teams down. Maybe the same can be said for this matchup, but again, this is going to be a heated and a spicy one.
Now, absolutely. Before we give away the results of this upcoming match in a little bit, we have a little bit of special giveaway for all of y'all watching at home or wherever you are watching this exciting match. yes, we have a giveaway towards the end of the show. So don't go anywhere. Make sure to get your phone ready. Again, only the top 30 redeemer, only the fast fingers can claim the prize. So make sure to get your stuff ready and watch until the end of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we now going to show you a little bit of the roster of the two teams that you're very familiar with. Again, only one spot remaining to the grand finals. Who will win? Private, why don't you go ahead and walk us through all the players from both teams?
Well, we've been talking about it, especially yesterday, with how much of an effect that these roamers have on the games. If you guys noticed there, Simpsons will be subbing in Cinderella for a Roman. We have to wonder if that is going to have an effect on their playstyle, or maybe just a little bit more synergy. Cinderella, when most North America already knows, has been a mainstay for the Simpsons, so maybe the synergy will still be there. But other than that, we also have to talk about Pogi and Yuna, the kind of the imports from other teams in North America that have just been a force to be reckoned with Vendetta right now. And it's going to come down to it. Is this going to be a redemption arc for the Simpsons, or is it going to be business as usual for Vendetta?
You know, it's kind of funny too, because if you look at the score from yesterday with the match with Vendetta and the Valley, it was 3-1, but there were games there where Vendetta was really close, right? I mean, we were saying it time and time again that it could have been 50-50, right? So I feel like with what they showed us yesterday and going against the Simpsons, we have to see how that kind of roster change affects them in this matchup. But I feel like both of these teams are pretty well matched. The thing is, Vendetta, if it slips out of their hands, sometimes they have a hard time coming back into the game, whereas the Simpsons, I feel like, is a little more structured, right? But again, like I said, that minor switch up, don't exactly know how that's going to work out here. So I can't wait to see game one, because I feel like that will really set the pace for the series.
This is the match for our pride. This is a match for prize. This is also a match for the last remaining ticket to our grand final. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we are now walking the first match ban draft. So without further ado, let's quickly send it over to our brilliant caster's desk.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting here. I mean, one of the things that I've been watching around here for is sometimes, especially in these early drafts, how we kind of toy or dance around the Diggy and Atlas pick. As we've seen, like right from the beginning, if it's left open, then you are probably going to be dealing with it on the Simpsons side with a Diggy ban as well. But yesterday we saw a lot of Atlas, a lot of unsuccessful Atlas picks, where teams, just like you were talking about it yesterday, Naisu, where Atlas is a very specific hero that requires a very specific skill set when it comes to kind of getting those sets, finding it in, because he's a almost, maybe not quite a high risk, high reward, but he does leave himself open if you are not exact with landing those stuns into a fatal links. So I'm wondering if that's going to be a factor here as we move in through this first banning phase.
Yeah, I feel like one of the best things that you can do if you are gonna lock in an Atlas is have kind of that second plan on your team, whether that's a tank or another kind of really durable fighter, I guess is the best way to go about it, because you have to pretty much just assume that if you have an Atlas, the whole trying to get an initiation, that whole fatal link combo, he's most likely going to be brought to 1/4 health in the process, if not dead, right? So you need someone there to help out with that initiation, or to peel or protect your carries the best you can. So if one of these teams wants to go ahead and go that route, then, like I said, have that kind of a backup plan along with your composition. But we'll see how that plays out, because one thing that we saw kind of often yesterday was priority-wise, right? Priority-wise for the teams that were playing, it really is dependent on the team, but we also saw gold laners or those marksmen being picked up first. Of course, there's still the Paquito, who's highly contested, very durable, very flexible, whether that's in the jungle or the side lane. And I mean, at the same time, it makes you wonder exactly I know these are all NA teams, but if you look at them, they all have this own unique style, and maybe that's because some of the players are from different regions and whatnot, right? But the thing is at the end of the day, what we saw is pretty chaotic, right? I just want to put that in my picture, because usually you see certain structures, right? But NACT, NA teams, especially these two here, and I'm including the Valley in this, things can get very chaotic, man. It doesn't matter what composition they go with. And sometimes that's beautiful, right? Sometimes it's art in the way that happens for NA teams. But it all starts here with the first pick. Bans nothing, out of the ordinary, right? This is usually what we see here. Again, Ballman either slips through or he gets banned. Valentina and Faramis are both banned out by the Simpsons. They don't want to deal with that interaction anymore. Not to say that it might come up later in the series, but solid bans. And there you go. Like I was saying, Private, Paquito, highly contested. It's going to be the first priority pick over here for Vendetta.
Yeah, and especially once he reaches level 4, he's just the amount of damage he can unleash so early and then continually keep up that damage. It gets a little bit of a pop-up too as well. So, and then CCing for the whole team kind of groups them up into a nice neat pile for a lot of that AoE damage that we can get sometimes from a Farza or from an Eve pick or something like that. On the other side, we're going to see Cold World going ahead, picking up Claude. We talked about it over and over. Claude, he might not have the greatest early game as far as clearing, but when it comes to getting that Demon Hunter sword, getting that golden staff, he's able to go not just against tankier players to shred them down, but to dive really deep into that back line to get to those squishies and then find himself getting away to safety with that battle mirror image. And now we're going to see Nate. So here's the thing, Selena on Nate, if this is going to stay a mid, it is one of those high risk, high reward type of characters. You need to be landing those abyssal arrows. You need to keep up that pressure, because I feel like Selena really kind of falters if your team is behind. There's not much she can do, because after she lands those abyssal arrows, she has to metamorphosize, run into there to do that insane amount of damage to finish off a player, and then try to get out to safety, which easier said than done when you are ahead, or it's easier when you're ahead, but it comes at a huge risk when you're behind.
Yeah, so Selena is kind of, it's interesting the way that works, almost like a Magic Franco, right? So we'll have to see how that works. You got to just, because the thing is that one arrow, if you miss a ton of them, that one arrow could change the course of the game, just like that one hook could do the same, right? So we'll have to see how that plays out. But we were talking about it before the first picks even came out, Private. That is going to be Atlas being secured by Vendetta. The response, the obvious response, because they don't want it to get banned out, is the Diggy pickup here from Simpsons. So that's the best answer, right? A lot of the times when Atlas is picked, we see the Diggy banned out. So now that they have that Times Journey, it's great. But the downside right now for the Simpsons in the first 3 picks is they're quite squishy, right? And if for some reason we see this, I'm assuming it's the Jungle Paquito, because right now Pogi he's played it before. It works really well. He runs with that high and dry emblem, able to get those early kills early on, and that's the scary thing, right? Is that burst damage coming out from Jungle Paquito. So everybody over here on The Simpsons so far is pretty squishy. If those kills go early on to the Paquito, it's going to be a heyday, basically. And then, you have Irithil at some point just coming online, locks in the items that she needs, and unleashes. So those last 2 picks for The Simpsons going to be very crucial. Like I said, you want to have that durability, that tankiness to just round everything out here, right? So going to the final ban phase, you can already see Esmeralda being taken out, the Julian there, Amon, they want to take out the junglers. I would be surprised though, maybe the Simpsons just go with a full send lineup, right? Just, they want to go fast, hard, and just end it quick. We have seen some 10-minute games, right? 10, 11-minute games. The thing about that though is this is the best time to do it. In the best of 5, this is game number 1. If you want to try something out, if you want to be a little more risky, like you mentioned, Selena alone is high risk, high reward. Now's the time to do it.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting if they could go either that way. If you're trying to round out the composition, I see maybe potentially a Barats. You still have that jungle, and you still have that fighter. Oh, they're going to go with potentially a Tankarina here on Fallen. So you do have that tankiness. We're going to be waiting to see what Promise picks up for that XP lane as well. Because honestly, this is kind of flexible. It's almost kind of like a guessing game. Are they going to do what you said? Are they going to go with that mobility, that high early burst game to try to finish this off early? Or are they potentially going to round out these picks with some tankiness to kind of round it out? So we did see yesterday almost like a weird kind of counter to Theo on the Atlas was intended or not intended, is being caught out alone. Mobazane getting caught by Theo. That's Theo coming in with that fatal links, but that meant that he didn't have the fatal links for the team fights, which really kind of put the Valley ahead. So it's something also to consider when trying to manage these team fights as well. We do see on the side of Vendetta, they're going to go ahead and pick up Uranus, probably the duo up at the top of the mountain that is the XP laner, the XP lane with Esmeralda. But with Esmeralda being banned out here, I mean, you possibly have a Dyroth pick there, but then that does take away from the tankiness that you might be looking to round out this composition for from Promise.
Yeah, the last pick's going to be crucial, but again, they're opting more for the side of just, you know, ending the game quick. And with that Cho pick being locked in here, interestingly enough, I think we're going to be seeing the side lane Cho, right? And we've seen this actually maybe once or twice, a couple times, at least in other MPL regions. We'll see how it works out. Unless there's going to be some switch happen, I don't think it is. But still, if you look across the board at Vendetta, man, they are really rounded out in the magic damage department, the physical damage department, also that durable department, right? That durability, the tankiness. So again, I feel like you need, if the Simpsons want to win this game, it starts with landing those early arrows, grabbing those early kills as much as possible, allowing Cold World to just farm up, you know, on the claw, do his thing. And then at the same time, you have multiple options to find picks. That's the Selena, that's the Cho. So we'll see how that all plays out here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting there. And I'm wondering, is that going to just be, is that going to be a tank Cho? I assume it might be, because that's kind of what they're lacking right now. But how does a Cho play into a Uranus? If you're kind of wandering all over the map, which is where Cho shines with those Jeet Kune Dos, is he going to be able to stop Uranus from these cuts, from getting into the base and just soaking up all that gold? But we're going to find out here. We are right in the middle of it here right now. First game, Vendetta taking on the Simpsons. And man, like I said, it's big and a lot on the line here. One of these teams potentially going home tonight, and another one going to be moving on, I assume.
Yeah, I don't think, you know, to answer your question about the Cho, well, specifically, they're going to be fighting already. Okay. First blood. Yeah,
they are coming in there. Nate in a little bit of trouble is going to be able to get himself to safety, and this is kind of the problem there. Oh man, and they're already in there. Was the Galaxy not able to get that blue buff? Fallen able to kind of, I believe they went ahead and expended that retribution for it, so they were able to successfully force that out. But like we were saying, it's kind of a little bit of risk. You already saw Selena taking a heap of damage there. Fallen going ahead and locking onto Shiki. Shiki doesn't have level 4 yet. It is going to be taken out by Fallen here in the 1 minute 30 mark. So a good start for the Simpsons. A lot of aggression and still kind of keeping that calmness that they need.
Yeah, and I mean, those are 2 early kills already for the Simpsons. And my point with this Cho is I think it's more so just to handle that lane. He's not really going to be doing anything against Uranus. That's usually how the Uranus matchups go anyway, right? So they're going to be basically just planning Promise there, and once he's level 4, his sole goal is to pretty much find flicker Way of the Dragon combos, right? We saw him just try to do it there. It failed. But again, that's his assignment for the majority of the game. Be part of that pick process. Fallen is going to be just countering in the jungle right now. Not sure if they want to actually commit to the turtle just yet, but everybody's centering around the turtle.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to go ahead and pick up a kill onto Theo. That is a roam taken out of this position, so they are already a man down for this. We do see a Way of the Dragon does land on the Galaxy, and he is Promise going to go ahead and get out of there while Nate cleans that up. In a great position right now. They have 2 down for this turtle. Fallen going to go ahead and pick that up, and they are on top of Poggy. Poggy gets taken down quite quickly. Shiki running for his life right now is going to be able to find it out. Even with that, look at that damage there. Is going to go ahead, have to expend those black shoes there, and we do see that time journey Magic coming up with Cinderella to go ahead and secure that reset for the Simpsons. I mean, action-packed right now. I can't even tell if they stop. Here comes the Fatal Links on the two members. Nate's going to go ahead and expend that flicker to get away, but gets stunned up again by Theo. Cinderella powerless to do anything but watch and throwing out those Diggy Bombs, but not enough there. You see Yuna taking a heap of damage, and it is still a 1-5 game, but still some answers coming from Vendetta.
Yeah, that's crucial for Vendetta, because if anybody, Shiki needs the kills, running the mystery shop, going to be able to hopefully get the items that he needs faster. But that's the thing, right? That's going to be one of the main, I guess, tools that they have to slow the Simpsons down, because they're already starting this snowball. They're already starting that momentum, and you can see it across map, the plays, the pressure that they're putting on, because that's exactly what the lineup is supposed to do. Again, we saw it earlier too, just before that turtle fight, with Nate and Promise doing the job. I mean, the arrow landed, the way the dragon landed. That's always something that the Vendetta is going to have to watch out for. The best thing they can do is hold on. Literally, that's all they have to do. Scale into the mid to late game, get quite tanky to the point where you're not getting one-shotted every time you get an arrow to the face or you get kicked in a certain direction. So they need to do their best to just stay alive. Yes, it's a 2K-ish gold lead at this point, and if Poggy can get some kills here, that's going to be crucial.
Yeah, it looks like Nate getting kind of outgunned there. Did land an Abyssal Arrow, but got taken out by Pogi there with that Paquito there, trying to protect Theo. And now they're going to go ahead and just shave off a little bit of gold from this as our first turtle, or as the second turtle. Or I believe this is the first turtle, yeah, is going to be worked on by, or second turtle worked on by Pogi. And not really much that the side of the Simpsons can do. They were a man down, and Pogi going to go ahead and clean that up quite quickly. Theo going to use that flicker to get away from Fallen, and Cinderella starting to even things out a little bit now. That early burst from the Simpsons seems to have staved off right now, so both teams kind of being a little bit more patient, as they're gonna have to kind of reset here, gonna have to think about these things, because they cannot depend on that early surprise that they had going earlier. As you see a stun land onto Uranus there.
Yeah, like but Vendetta's doing it, right? I mean, they've lowered that gold gap just a little bit by about 1,000. You can already see the items too. First items being picked up by the majority of the members. And that's the next item, especially going in the hands of Shiki, if it is going to be the Ice Queen wand, whichever path he decides to go on the Lilia is going to be crucial here. Cinderella going to be the focus. I don't think he has the backup. Here they come.
Yeah, Cinderella actually, gets taken out there by Yuna, but now we have Nate coming in here. Cold World does expend that Blazing Duet, is in a little bit of way. He's gonna go use that BMI to get out of the way. Nate gets taken out by Promise, or by Sheik. Or by Shiki here. You see the way the dragon does land onto Shiki, is trying to put on the damage. Black shoes come out. Cinderella doing the best she can to kind of help Promise out. In comes Cold World. Time Journey comes out just a few seconds too late to protect Cho. Cinderella gonna get taken out here, and we have evened this out. Actually, now it is actually in the lead for Vendetta right now, as they have swung this around into their favor with those last fights.
See, like I was saying, that's why you want to have that durable factor on your team composition, because the Simpsons, they kind of just unloaded and then they didn't have any more steam, right? And at the same time, they just got whittled down here. Now Yuna going to be the focus. Still alive, though. Augie now.
Yeah, putting on the damage onto Fallen, who's going to have to use, I believe it was that Shadow Assault to go ahead and find an escape there, which means they're not going to have the Shadow Assault for this turtle coming up. And you see right now they are still Cinderella kind of trying to give a little bit of vision, but I'm not sure that the Simpsons is going to be able to do anything. That's going to be the second turtle in a row that goes over to the Simpsons, as things are quickly kind of falling out of their hands. Maybe about a little under a 1K gold lead there. And you were talking about it before, that tankiness chasing Fallen right now, as they're not able to really kind of contend with it. We have two down here at the bottom trying to put on the pressure, but they're going to go ahead and be turned away at the tower.
Yeah, so going back to the point too, I mean, there's just action all over the map. They're not, the thing is, okay, Cold World, actually, will he be able to survive this? I don't think so. He's gonna get crashed down, trying to get a kill there before he's taken out himself. He does managed to get to that turret, but is just going to end up going down. And now here under the turret, once again, Nate has to flicker out. So, I mean, going back to the point here, Private, like, that's the thing, right? If you unload, you have all your ultimates, you have everything like that unleashed, and it's on the wrong targets of Vendetta. That's what's so great about Shiki, right? That's what's so great about Lilia's kit and the way that Black Shoes is, because what you see Shiki doing is getting all of that stuff out from the Simpsons, using the Black Shoes, and then that durable factor comes in for Vendetta where they're just there.
Yeah, you see Galaxy in a little bit of trouble here, but he has his team there to back him up. And a great play by Vendetta there to go ahead and kind of lure in Promise on that show to kind of throw out that Way of the Dragon while the rest of his team came up there from the backup to get that kill. Cinderella in a little bit of trouble here, is going to have to activate that time journey as Theo is trying to chase him there. And so jukes from Cinderella. Here comes a Fatal Lynx as Cold World's going to have to use that Battle Mirror image to get out of the way. Theo goes down. We see that an Abyssal Arrow does miss wide. Fallen trying to juke out the Pogi here on that Paquito. We have a reverse time, but Fallen gets taken down right now. Nate trying to come in to finish the job, but just does not have the damage and is going to get paid for that with his life. And you can see there coming in with the Jikundo is Promise, but they are just so mobile, so ready for that. He's not able to land it and is almost about to get taken out there, but does get away with just a narrow about 1 HP there from them, which is going to open up this turtle for Vendetta.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is chaos, right? That's very chaotic. Just how everything unleashed and kind of unfolded there for the teams. Now, Cold World might get caught out.
Yeah, he did thankfully have that Battle Mirror image. Good thinking by him in the early bits of that to kind of create distance between his blazing duet and then teleport back to it to find himself some safety. But it's not going to do anything to really help with securing this Lord right now. We do see them go ahead. The Simpsons going to go ahead and press onto it. They are not going to let this go without a fight. Theo coming in looking for the stun. You see Cold World is able to take down Theo. Fallen takes out the Lord. This is great news for the Simpsons as they also take down Galaxy. That is 2 unanswered kills and a Lord for the Simpsons. And this is just putting them in a great position and has even out the game. You do see that Way of the Dragon does land on a Pogi who gets taken out as well. That is 3 kills right now. Cinderella gets taken out there, but not before saying a little hello to Vendetta as the rest of the Simpsons going to go ahead and put the pressure onto this mid tower. Shiki's going to go ahead and have to create some distance from them as we do see a Fatal Lynx coming out onto Fallen, who is trying to latch on in there with that Shadow Assault, is going to go ahead and find an escape. Shiki gets taken out as well. Theo down for the count right now as Cold World gets taken out by Yuna. There are only 2 people left on the side of Vendetta, but 4 on the side of the Simpsons as this Lord is pushing at the bottom, and we still have pressure mounting. Galaxy trying to cut them off at the purple buff right now. He is tanky enough to kind of withstand that, but he is not able to save that buff for his team. You do see Promise up there trying to lure him in. Are they going to be able to take down Galaxy before we see that reverse time is locked onto him? Abyssal Arrow does go wide. Galaxy juking the heck out of the Simpsons right now. Way of the Dragon comes down now. Is that going to be enough? A flicker from Promise gets him out of harm's way. Galaxy going to go ahead and dive over that wall to safety right now.
That's what I like to call durability, right? That's what you pick Uranus for right there. But even, you know, backtracking just a couple minutes here, when Cold World earlier used that Blazing Duet when it was a 1 versus 4, it was actually a big brain play because it got Theo to use the Fatal Lynx, right? So they didn't have that and they had to give up the Lord for it. Now, did it convert to much? Not too much, right? It is still a minor gold lead here for the Simpsons. They've swung things back in their favor, but Theo might try again to look for a moment, a setup, and it's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah, and you see that they went ahead and missed that Fatal Lynx as Theo gets taken out by Fallen right there. Fallen's going to have to disengage. They're playing in and out right now. Theo trying to come in with that damage. Promise gets taken out by Pogi. And, well, as we saw that the Blazing Duet came in there, Nate and Fallen going to go pick up kills as well. That is 4 unanswered kills. Galaxy in a heap of trouble. Is he going to be able to have that same durability against 4 players of the Simpsons? It looks like he doesn't have to find out right now as they are going to go ahead, focus on this mid lane.
Man, so, you know, that's the thing, right? You just try to ignore Galaxy here, try to get some of these turrets. That's the plan here for the Simpsons. They do grab some big kills. Oh, no.
Wow! A combination of a flicker with that time journey from Cinderella, able to save Coldworld from what I thought was a horrible mistake by him to dive with that blazing duet into the tower. So I mean, that just kind of speaks for the synergy right now. We were wondering if they were going to have the same synergy with Cinderella that they did with Damien on this roam position. I mean, I think that speaks for itself there. Just they're all over. Cinderella right there covering down for Coldworld, whether that was intended or a mistake. We do see that Promise is in a little bit of trouble here. He's going to have to use that G-Kundo to try to get out of the way of all of this damage as the rest of the Simpsons trying to press on to this Lord, trying to put on the damage. We see Promise going to go ahead and leap over that wall. I know we are waiting for that stun to come out right now. Theo comes in. He's going to go ahead and land that stun. Has the fatal links, but Fallen still picks up the Lord. Promise does get taken down by Pogi on that Paquito. Now Simpsons are on the run, and we've seen this mistake 1,000 times. You get the Lord, but you're paying for it with 2 deaths of your own. So who really won that fight? Luminous Lord down barreling at the lower lane there right now.
Well, I mean, the Simpsons should still be okay. It depends on how Coldworld. I mean, yeah, he tried to do the best he can, pop the blaze, do it, cleared some of the minions, and just force them back. So, you know, even though that whole fight went the way that it did, Vendetta is still going to have to handle this Luminous Lord, right? They're going to deal with that, the minions as well. So they're not even going to really be able to actually play around that, what you could say was a winning team fight for them, but still giving up the Lord. They're really down in terms of map presence, map space, right? So the Simpsons, yeah, Fallen and Promise went down, but still you've got Coldworld there. You've got Cinderella and Nate too to really keep people at bay. And now, see, they're making plays even on the top side. And Coldworld going down, it's a 1-for-1 trade. How do they play this out? They're still going private.
Yeah, they are promising a little bit of trouble here. I don't think he's going to be able to get away. He's going to try to use that G-Kundo, but gets a knockout punch from Pogi. Now they are on the chase for Cinderella, who is running for his life on that digging time reverse is put onto Theo, and Fallen is going to go ahead and find the safety back in his own jungle here. Like, they are trying to find out the picks. They are answering it from each other, but like you said, yeah, they are, I want to say, in a little bit of a better position, a lot more open map right now on Vendetta's side, as they have already lost a ton of towers. We do see one tower going down for the side of the Simpsons, and it looks like we have a little bit of problem there. Nate is going to get taken out as well. So now the kills are in favor of Vendetta. Another back and forth game. Both of these guys not trying to give up that aggression, always answering, always kind of coming to the aid and just trying to continue on these fights to punish the enemy team.
See, I'm wondering like what the thought process there was for Nate. Like, even if you get the kill on Atlas, you know, what will that result in? But I mean, they're still defending this tier 2 right here.
Yeah, and you see Promise gonna go ahead. He landed that Way of the Dragon, but put it the wrong direction, which allowed Shiki to go ahead and put on the damage of that Lilia onto the Cho, and Cho just got melted. So, I mean, and that's what we were talking about, those decision makings on picking your targets, picking where you're gonna put your targets, and is this beneficial for the team? Coldworld up at the top is unable to protect that tower, and now we're starting to see the towers start to even out. Only inhibitors left for both teams right now, and I mean, this could be anybody's game, but the slight gold advantage leaning in the direction of Vendetta.
Yeah, so this next Lord that's coming up here is going to be crucial. Obviously, the great thing for Vendetta is they have almost evened out the turrets, right? They've also got that nice little comfortable gold lead. Not sure if the Simpsons might actually be able to take this, but they're going to try.
Yeah, they are 10% left on that Lord. Coldworld's gonna come in with that blazing duet. We see the damage coming on there. Pogi able to pick up this Luminous Lord right now. Theo gets taken out as well. Fallen in a bit of trouble, gets taken out by Pogi there. So it is a 1-for-1 trade right now. They are still putting on the damage. Cinderella is the next to get taken down. Promise is getting chased down. He is not long for this world, though. Gets taken out as well. There are only 2 left, Coldworld and Nate, to try to put up a defense there. We do still have a blazing duet, or no, we don't have a blazing duet for Coldworld just yet to be able to kind of help clean up these minions. They're going to have to disengage from this tower. Now we are tied up on towers as we have a parade of minions marching down the mid. Nate's going to try to get out of the way. Does not negate the damage from Shiki as we have the black shoes come out. This is going to be game 1 going over to the side of Vendetta.
There you go, right? That's exactly how you do it. And I'm going to go back to my point here, Private. The fact that they had an Atlas and they had that backup plan, that backup durability factor, which was the Uranus, right? We saw that with Galaxy. A lot of the times, if you notice too, the two carries, which obviously your gold lane and your mid, were pretty much protected on front side, back side, because sometimes Poggy was there too to peel for them. So everything just kind of, it layered itself really well, and that's what worked out for them there in game one. Even when they were down, they figured out, hey, the Simpsons are pulling the trigger a little bit too early, right? We saw that a lot. Actually, you saw that quite often with them. There were some good plays too from the Simpsons, especially even Cold World able to get some of the, the fatal links out where they didn't have it for big crucial fights. But ultimately, mistake after mistake or decision making really kind of just, it slipped out of the hands of the Simpsons because of that. So, I mean, even taking a look here at the endgame stats, again, there was a swing, right? A back and forth between both of the teams. But ultimately, by this point, when you start to reach that late game and you get into it, this more well-rounded out team composition from Vendetta is just going to work so much better for you because you cover all your bases. Whereas the Simpsons, again, this can work too, but you have to be able to decide on those picks, whether that's going to be Promise or Nate. And then at the same time, you need to be able to end those games before it gets to the point. I think I even mentioned that in minute one, where you are on a timer with this team composition, right? And it did work. They had a lot of damage, definitely. But unfortunately, the game gets to a point where you see Galaxy just 1v4ing people, sometimes just taking the brunt of the damage, sometimes just taking those abyssal arrows to the face to protect the team, allowing Shiki and Yuna to just pretty much unload.
Yeah, and it does come down to the compositions that leave a lot more room for error. You cannot make those types of mistakes. You see Promise getting taken out here too as well. Just a lot of these fights came down to they weren't ahead. They weren't able to kind of match that tankiness that was coming from the side of Vendetta. There was a lot of burst damage coming out at first, but we saw Promise going in, lands away of the dragon, wrong angle, still tries to complete it, which allowed them to go ahead and have Shiki come in with some damage. It's those decisions that you need to be in sync with your team to be able to kind of continue these types of compositions. If you're not going to go with that rounded composition, that forgiving composition where you have tankiness, because that was the problem here with all. It was the fact that Vendetta could make mistakes. They didn't have to worry. They're like, all right, we lost that one, but you know what? We still have another set potential. Whereas there was just a very small path that the side of the Simpsons could go down. And once that path got blocked out, once they started getting more into the late game where they couldn't just one-shot somebody, they were starting to have issues. And maybe that's something to think about when it comes into this next composition. If you're going to experiment, if you're going, not even experiment, if you're going to go with a composition not as rounded, everybody needs to be on the same page. Everybody needs to be crisp. Everybody needs to know their win conditions and where they can put enemies, when they can engage, when your team is ready, or else you're gonna run into those problems, especially with a team that can afford to miss those things, and especially when all they have to do is land a fatal links, when all they have to do is wait for the peel from Paquito or something like that.
Yeah, and this might warrant them to maybe take the Atlas themselves and then build around that. Again, Cold World was actually having a pretty good game. He had good damage. There was good decision making in some cases that he had, but ultimately yes, Claude is meant to go into the fray and then BMI out of there and be okay. But unfortunately, once that's done, you have a hard time of really following up on it. There was that one good team fight where they just collapsed, on Vendetta. They came out on top of it. Galaxy was the only one standing left alive, but still they struggled to actually push into the base even at that point, right? So even get that inhibitor turret, I think they got the tier 2. But the point is again, you are so reliant on in that situation, your main front line was, you had Cho, you had Promise, and you also, I guess in a sense, you have Karina there, right? But still, that's not really the same factor of what was thrown at them from Vendetta. So I think in this next draft, they're going to have to really not just round out their composition, but also go back, take a step back and think about those decisions that they're making. Because even I pointed it out, you know, that the one decision from Nate, you know, I know that the Atlas was low, probably thought I can get this combination off on the Selena. You know, I'm also running the last worship. He'll probably go down. And your job might be, well, so they don't have the Fatal Links, but still, if one member of that team composition goes down, you lose a lot there. So you need everybody with what they drafted, what the Simpsons drafted. You need everybody there, right? You were saying you need to make sure that they're all on the same page. They're all in sync with each other with that type of lineup. Whereas Vendetta had a little more breathing room in terms of if they made a mistake here and there. So I just think it's something that was apparent even in the draft. And you know, based on like face value, when you look at two team compositions in the draft, you can usually say, oh, this draft is better or this draft is better, but still it comes down to that execution factor, right? I mean, even looking as yesterday as an example, in my time as casting, I don't think I've ever seen a side lane Fanny, right? But it somehow worked. We're going to be jumping into the draft here for game number 2, but it's funny because I was with Wolf, those that are familiar with Wolf, the caster here from MPO Philippines. I asked him, I was like, man, how do you feel about side lane Fanny? And he's like, no. That's all he said. His one word was no. He's like, I know it worked one game in NACT, but it doesn't mean that it's good, right? But that's the thing, right? So I feel like still with the Simpsons being on, you know, first pick now, they can really have a plan here to take game number 2, because that's what they obviously need to do, right? And I feel like we're going to see them probably go a little more toward not a safe side, but a little more well-rounded side, because again, if you just look at that draft last game, it was very you said it right with the Selena pick, but as a whole draft, it was high risk, high reward, and unfortunately for them, it was more risky last game.
Yeah, and that's the problem there, and that's why you don't see it too often, is because like there's a reason it's high risk, high reward. Like if it was a meta, if it was easy, if it allowed you that wiggle room, especially up here, you're when you're up at the top of like competition for an area, it's not just based on your team's skill level, it's based on the enemy's ability to counter you, on Vendetta's ability to kind of get around that. They might not make those same mistakes that you are anticipating, or leave open those holes that you need. I mean, we saw some synergy from the Simpsons. We saw just some especially with Cinderella and Cold World together, able to kind of save him there. However, there was a little bit of a lack of I want to say of those time journeys when the Fatal Links came out. I mean, we saw it for those little loose saves, but when it came to like the actual Fatal Links and the time journey coming out, I didn't really see it being used too well to kind of counter that. And that might have been something kind of that they weren't on the same page with. As we're moving into this next banning phase, we do see Simpsons going to go ahead, take out that Paquito, which is interesting because, I mean, it was a first pick last time when Vendetta had it. Maybe something else in the mind. I do like Paquito as a first pick just because, I mean, there's not much that you can do against Paquito. He's one of those players that he's one of those characters that just you just kind of have to manage. Like it's like there's no actual real counter for it. You just kind of have to like, all right, we're gonna have to kind of work our way around it. But they're gonna go ahead and take it out anyway. Obviously, there's a priority here on the side of Simpsons for something else. Of course, right now we do see Atlas and Diggy are open right now. We saw it was picked up on the first, I think the second pick by Vendetta, before even Simpsons were able to kind of react and do something with it. They picked up the Diggy, but not too much success with it. I'm wondering if that's going to be a play here as well. And we do see that Lilia getting taken off the board. Of course, Shiki just having a great game for game 1 there. And of course, that Ballman going to get picked up first for the Simpsons.
Yeah, and interesting too is Faramis is open, right? So I'm not sure if one of the teams want to grab that, if that's maybe Vendetta's plan. But you mentioned it, you know, there's some good picks out there. Atlas, Diggy, Faramis is still open. Also, do they want to prioritize any of the marksmen, right? Yes, Juan and Melissa are banned here. So do you want to lock in possibly the Claude, you know, whichever team decides, I feel like it's just going to end up being a Claude Earthil again, possibly. But there's the Claude. So, I mean, that's the thing, right? You want to play around it. They got the burst. Shiki's going to be playing the Farsa. They took out that Lilia. I think, again, these are good bans from The Simpsons. It's more targeted now. Like you mentioned, there's the Earthil. Like you mentioned, you don't want to deal with that Paquito because Paquito's a hero that once that snowball, that momentum starts for him, it's really hard to stop because the burst damage early on, especially we saw it constantly with that high and dry emblem, it works so well. And it allows, if a jungler is going to snowball, most likely your team will go along with it, right? Because it also makes those objectives easier. So they take care of that. This is the other thing. Kugura. I feel like you guys really enjoy Kugura here in NACT. She is a ton of burst. So already for the Simpsons, they're in that department again, right? They have good damage, but already with the Ballman pick, it's there, right? There's at least some durability. You have a good objective-based jungler who can just do his best to steal those. We even saw that yesterday in the series where Ballman was played quite a bit. So the answer, though, from Vendetta is they do take the Atlas once again. And this is the thing. I mean, they do ban out the Diggy. That's great. But what we saw yesterday, even in just this game one, the last game, sometimes Theo is a little trigger happy on the Fatal Links, right? And it puts him in this awkward situation where he's just sitting there with his arm up and no one's connected, and he ends up dying or there's no follow-up. So again, in this situation, when Theo locks that in, hopefully in these last two picks, they have a good follow-up with it. And that's why I think you're going to see one more possibly XP ban come out. They do take out the Yuzhong, which is great because that was an option. They could possibly just go with Uranus, unless that's going to be banned out from The Simpsons. But right now, I mean, still base is covered by both teams so far in the first phase.
Yeah, I find it actually very interesting that they took out the Yuzhong, because I would imagine that would probably be at least my answer for the Farja and that feathered airstrike from well in the back. You still do have the Kagura. She can be able to toss out that umbrella, get that yin yang overturn, potentially onto Shiki, depending on what the cooldown for that wings by wings on Farja is. So it's kind of interesting to me that they take out, because potentially Yuzhong could be used to kind of latch onto Cold World, but I feel like Kagura is kind of a very slippery person for Yuzhong to really kind of go for. So it's very interesting that they took that out. They are going to go ahead and ban out Karina as well, and then Masha getting banned out. It's the second time that Masha's been banned out for the side of Vendetta, and Pogi going to go ahead, pick up that Julian, the CC, the damage. There was a moment where in the midst of those nerfs that came to Julian, where he kind of fell off and nobody was trying to pick or use him. But I mean, I feel like Julian just became one of those. He became less of those ones. I feel like you could slap your phone and do well on him. Now you kind of have to be a little bit more picky. But when you get up to the high with those more mechanically gifted players, they can still land those enhanced chains, still land those slows and those kicks to really punish the enemy team. It's just a massive amount of CC, regen, and damage that he's able to dish out.
Yeah, Julian's interesting, right? Especially because he's going to the jungle. We'll see how that plays out against the Ballman here. But yeah, there's a great toolkit there to be used. Also, on the other side, the Simpsons are going to round out their draft with that Uranus pick, the Matilda as well. And I think this is a good choice, right? At least you have that sense of durability. You have great magic burst damage. Eventually, the Irithyll comes online. You cover that base. And then not only that, but you also have mobility, right? So mobility is going to be a huge factor here because you are dealing with, the feathered airstrike. You're dealing with a blazing duet. You're going to have to disperse. Not only that, but there's a lot of CC for Vendetta, right? And as much as possible for the Simpsons, you want to be able to survive most of that, right? So there you go. Esmeralda is going to be locked in here. We like to call this the eternal battle. Not much is going to happen in that lane. We don't have to really pay attention to that lane much. Just know that eventually the deciding factor when it's that Uranus Esmeralda matchup is those team fights, right? And this can be as early as early skirmishes, because that is a factor. They'll do the deep cuts in the lane, and then they'll be out of race to get to the team fights first. And whoever does that the best, that's really where things change. Because again, the great thing about Uranus, that regen factor, the durability factor, that kind of annoyance, right? Where the Esmeralda, like, she'll whittle you down very slowly. And if for some reason Galaxy does get ahead, he snowballs on the Esmeralda. She almost becomes an unkillable tank. And that is exactly what they needed when I was saying for Atlas, you need that. You need to not have that weight on your shoulders, right? And just let loose and hopefully land some fatal links. But we are going to be jumping into game number 2 here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a crucial match, right? It's the only match of the day here. This is game number 2, the Simpsons versus Vendetta. Vendetta already 1-0 over the Simpsons.
Yeah, like I said, crucial match right now, not just for the series, but just kind of for morale. You want to kind of make sure that you kind of keep things even. You do see some damage coming on the Shiki here, so they're starting to put a little bit of pressure here. And like you were saying, that at the top already, you see Esmeralda rotating down, trying to make a nuisance of herself down here during these fights. Still, I mean, there's 3 people down here, not too afraid. Are the Simpsons, but it's just what you get. That package deal that you get with an Esmeralda here. But what we're gonna wait for, what we're gonna see, I mean, we do have the 2 tanky lines these players for the Simpsons, especially with that Uranus, with that Balmon. So they're gonna be able to tank, hopefully enough for Nate to be able to find that umbrella, for Cold World to be able to find that flanking position to be able to do the damage on. And that's what we're gonna be waiting to see as we when we transition, because I feel like the team fight is going to really sell this for me, for the side of the Simpsons here.
Yeah, I mean, not only that too, but you can already see the kind of the damage that Poggy has in this Julian, right? Not going to land that, but here's the thing. Vendetta, they're running the double Avarice emblems. You know, it's on Galaxy, it's on Yuna. That can actually really help scale very quickly into a gold lead, even if they're quote unquote down. Like if they're down a little bit in terms of kills objectives, that double Avarice could end up actually keeping you in the midst of actual okay in the gold department, right? The economy of the team. So that will play out, and that's why the Simpsons need to be very kind of focused on these objectives here already. Though the feathered airstrike going to come down. That's already the first blood going in the hands of Poggy. Now Nate being pushed out here. Everybody on the Simpsons going to have to get out of this area. The first turtle of the game is just going to go in the hands of Vendetta. That's exactly not what the Simpsons want to happen, because like I was saying, economy could just go in the hands of Vendetta with that double Avarice if they farm appropriately, if they actually proc it, and there you go. Just like that, they've already managed that 1K gold lead this early on.
Yeah, and that was a problem. We just Cold World in trouble here.
And Cold World has to pop the ultimate, but unfortunately going to get stunned right by the turret, goes down again, furthering that gold lead for Vendetta.
Yeah, I mean, we saw there at the turtle a little bit of maybe not hesitation. Fallen was on the turtle, putting the damage onto it, but the rest of his team kind of lingering towards mid. This allowed a very fast come about from Vendetta to get positions on Balmon, to get that stun onto him, not only to land the feathered airstrike, but also to land the enhanced chains on him. So he was just CC'd down into a coma before his team could even react, because they were at mid. Yin Yang Overturn coming in here.
Such a clutch Yin Yang Overturn, but nothing converts there. Just a lot of damage. No kills, actually. Never mind. Fallen slammed down with a lethal counter, able to take out Shiki. They might not be done yet. Cinderella trying to get some space here in the jungle, but going to get pushed out. So at least, right, the Simpsons able to get a kill there. So that interaction with Nate, the Yin Yang Overturn, and then the lethal counter can be quite, lethal, right? So that's what we saw there. We'll see if they can continue to do that combination.
Yeah, and not just because they were able to kind of find some answers. They don't clean it up with the Yin Yang Overturn, but the rest of the team is kind of in the way. They are getting flanked now.
Oh, this is trouble. Fallen, will he be able to escape this? He's got Nate making his way up here into the river. Nate not able to get anybody just yet. Galaxy taking the brunt of the damage, and they force off here. So that's going to be it for that. But I mean, again, one more kill going over to Vendetta. And if they can continue to find picks early on, they're going to profit off that, right? Nate should, like you said, he's going to be quite slippery to catch here on this Kagura pick, but still, it's these moments, right, early on to the game that can lead into big things mid-game, right? Yuna has been just farming up, already picking up that Demon Hunter sword, and now the second turtle of the game's coming up, where already we see Vendetta pretty much asserting dominance in terms of this space, this area. Not sure if they're going to be able to contest this. The Simpsons trying, but there you go. Poggy actually able to secure it once again. Second turtle of the game.
Well, and what was interesting to me is Fallen was nowhere near there. Fallen decided that he was going to go ahead and clear out the bottom jungle. The rest of his team obviously didn't get the memo. Fatal Links and that Feathered Airstrike coming down, finish off Fallen, and the rest of the team kind of, I mean, it does feel like they're a little bit of a miscommunication when it comes to where they're going to be fighting or what type of objectives they're going to be taking here. They're starting to slip further and further behind here, almost getting to about a 2K gold lead into the 5-minute and 30-second mark on this. And I mean, we're gonna have to be a little bit cleaner on this, especially when it comes to the objective fights.
Yeah, Cinderella should be fine, able to get away here. Shiki probably not going to be able to do anything. Doesn't have the Feathered Airstrike. All right, just came up now. Cold World, though, on the bottom side. Poggy looking for a kill, forcing the ultimate out. Here comes Nate. He's going to sidestep that the best he can. Can they grab the kill? Still going to be alive for now. So no conversion here. Again, a lot of skirmishes, a lot of things happening. Resources being taken out by both teams, but no kills going down. But what is happening, Private, is Vendetta is still building on that gold lead. It is starting to kind of gain momentum here, where you see them getting about 2K gold ahead.
Yeah, and right now, guys, we do have a gift for you. Redeem the code there for some free Magic Dust and tickets there. The first 50 users will be able to redeem it. You will find the link in the description of the stream, but we are right back at it as we have another fight kind of potentially coming out there from them. But there looks like they're going to go ahead and disengage, but Cinderella actually looks like she might be caught out a little bit.
Yeah, so, I mean, the great thing about Cinderella playing this Matilda is the mobility factor, right? And we already saw burst potential from Nate. Unfortunately, doesn't really, probably by the time he has 2 items, it's going to be quite deadly. And especially the great thing about having that Kagura there is whenever Theo ends up finding Fatal Link combinations, Nate's the perfect hero for that, right? But already Turtle gonna be secured this time by Fallen. There's the Fatal Links, everything coming out here. There's the Feathered Airstrike. Fallen goes down. Nate's gonna be the next focus. Promise though to help out Poggy there. Can't get the kill though. There to help him out now. Nate quite low. Galaxy might be looking to pull the trigger. Has the falling Star Moon too, but not going to commit it. It is Promise that goes down in the mid lane, and now across the map on the bottom side, it's Cole going to be focused. Yuna can't get the kill. 1 hit away. Galaxy bobbing and weaving past the turret. Can't get it either. Cole World still alive, and he's going to run to the fountain this time. So, I mean, quite messy on the bottom side. Not sure if they're still going to give it a go here. Cinderella actually getting caught out, sandwiched in, plus the turret. I mean, massive plays here for Vendetta.
Yeah, and unfortunately for that, I mean, great play by Cold World, but was it outdone by Cinderella getting caught out up there? I mean, there's something to be said about like trying to save the tower, but I mean, you might as well let it go because they still got the tower, but then they picked up a kill on you, which kind of almost puts a little bit of a downer on all that dancing and bobbing and weaving that Cold World was able to do just to get away and find a kill there. We can see right here, right now, that Irothel is able to pick up that Berserker's Fury and the Wind Talker, but man, when it comes to items right now, we do see another Fatal Links coming out.
Fallen not going to be able to survive this one. He gets whittled down. So does Nate. It's going to be a double kill for Yuna. And now it's Cinderella and Cold World trying to run for their lives here as a mass of people running for him. Circling Eel does come out. Cold World gets the signal to try to help out the best he can. It looks like Cinderella is just going to make a run for the hills the best he can, and he's going to go down here too. Another kill going over to the hands of Vendetta. It is surely slipping out of the hands of the Simpsons right now. 4K gold lead ahead, and the next Lord coming up in just a couple of seconds.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it just feels like they cannot catch a breath here. Even Prom is going to be running into some troubles here. He's tanky, but is he that tanky to resist? Oh, we see that Fatal Link's coming out, and so he's going to be, well, potentially taken out here right now. But it does open up this Lord for the side of Simpsons.
Yeah, they should be able to secure this. There's the lethal counter. Okay, Cold World actually able to get that. The Retribution a little bit off time, but happy with it. The Simpsons do grab the Lord, but now Cinderella is going to be the focus here. Most likely with trapped in, but the team there to back him up. Falling Star Moon going to be committed by Galaxy, and everybody just going to call the retreat. Now it's Vendetta, right? They still do have quite a bit of a lead, but they've got to deal now with the Lord on the top side. Shouldn't be much to deal with, honestly, at all. They've got great damage, great clear. Poggy also just picking up that Holy Crystal. So there's a lot of magic damage here for Vendetta, right? I mean, the burst, we're obviously seeing it. So the Simpsons, I mean, Private, what can they do here to crawl back in? But hold on, this is not what they need to do. Cinderella going to be the focus. Goes down almost immediately. So unfortunately for them, they're down. Cold World trying to run once again. There's the feathered airstrike right on target. So you lose another member, and even though you got the Lord, you're gonna lose space here because Vendetta obviously wants to go ahead and work on these turrets. I mean, they've only got 2 down, which is kind of surprised. And it's Promise once again gonna get focused down. The Dominance Ice is there. He can't regen enough as he falls in the top side.
Yeah, and this gold lead has been shortened. Well, actually, it's still about a 4K right now, so they are able to maintain it. You were talking about it earlier with those emblems right now, so still able to maintain that. But the problem here is, I believe, the setting potential for the Simpsons. I mean, they're trying to run a very loose composition where they can try to catch people out, but I mean, you can't really catch anybody out who isn't making those mistakes. Another Fatal Link coming out here.
Everything just coming out on Fallen. He is going to get taken out. Shiki grabbing that mega kill. Shiki's massive right now. And that's the thing. You were just talking about it, Private. Like, I mean, where is their initiation, right? If you look at the Simpsons across the board, usually that's in the Matilda. But unfortunately, you can't make it work because your backs have been against the wall for minutes now, right? It's 2 to 15 in terms of kills. Your economy is also really lacking as you're 7K gold behind. All you can do once again is hold on here, and that's what we see. Galaxy now confident enough to go 1 versus 4, knows that the team is just around the corner. There's the knockup. Promise, not knowing the burst potential from Poggy getting taken out here, and he's the tankiest member of the team supposedly. So already this is just bad news for the Simpsons as Yuna picks up another key item, that Malefic Roar.
Yeah, and that's the problem when you see your Uranus getting one-shot by the enemy team. It's time to start praying because that damage is not going to lessen. We do see Kagura still does have the Lightning Truncheon and the other items that she needs, but on the other side, already picking up the Holy Crystal is Shiki. So like just almost about 1,000 to 1.5 K gold ahead of the enemy mage right now, and they just do not have an answer for that back line. And Nate, even when they do connect that umbrella, are able to get that yin yang overturn, it's not doing the damage that it needs because Kagura still needs those items, still needs to be able to kind of farm here, and they're just so far behind when it comes to this. We see them playing around this Lord, but a lot of mistakes are made as far as like whether you're going to go in, whether you're not, and the decisions of whether your whole team is kind of in the same game plan. You can see them dancing around here, but is Balmont in a position to kind of capitalize?
Oh, Shiki does get taken out here. Now Theo looking to make something happen. Not going to commit the Fatal Links, though. Doesn't need to. Still fighting for the Lord here. Fallen able to grab it with that lethal counter. Happy with it. So, I mean, yes, he goes down, but he grabs the Lord. That's going to be crucial for them to buy a little more time. Again, this is a game of time for the Simpsons. They need the time to scale here, Private.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Fallen, I do appreciate that. You saw the rest of the team kind of baiting Vendetta into a fight up at top while Fallen comes in there from the bottom. We do see another Promise in a little bit of trouble here. Just having a real rough go of it as a Uranus. What do you do as a Uranus when you're getting chopped down by the enemy team? We do have the Lord coming in, but it's just a great bit of breathing room for the side of the Simpsons, but we need to see if they can make something of it. They're being really aggressive here, but is this something that they want?
Oh man, they find the right target. Cold World's gonna go down here, falls, and that's 2 members that fall for the Simpsons. Nobody traded yet. It's Theo that falls next, but it's gonna be another member. Make it 4 of the Simpsons that fall. Vendetta out for blood, and it's only gonna be Fallen left alive as he secured his blue buff, but at what cost? Because it's now up to Vendetta to march into the base here. Can the Simpsons come up in time? It's not looking good. It's only Fallen able to defend the base, and that's not going to be enough because Vendetta taking game number 2.
Yeah, and the problem for me is I understand the split priority for a team, that if you're going to engage with 4 while one person is splitting, while one person is farming, but that is absolute that you can do when you're behind. When you're behind, you need all hands on deck. You need people, you need everybody doing something, like especially when it's a Balmont farming in the lane. You saw him over there getting his blue buff. So why was there an engagement made while he's trying to get that blue buff? He was nowhere near the fight, nowhere near able to kind of help and assist his team there, and they paid for it. The Simpsons absolutely got caught with fatal links there, even though they had that breathing room, and that's even another thing too. You have the Lord out, and we're going to engage on them, and that it feels like just Vendetta just a lot crisper today than what we saw yesterday. Not as many mistakes. Very, very great at utilizing these fatal links into that feathered airstrike there. Pogi with just his farming was unimaginable here today. You could see even with that last engagement when he went after Uranus, absolutely demolished him in about a second. And like I said, once you get to the point where your Uranus is getting shredded, you already know that you're going to have a bad game.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, right? The snowball started early, and even if it didn't happen, like, right, those kills didn't happen again, double avarice does build up over time, especially if you just play around that really well. And that's what they did. I mean, Yuno was farmed up out of his mind at one point, and there was just Theo was actually again able to find the setups that he needed. Fallen had a couple of good, takes on objectives, but like you mentioned, Private, at the end of the day, sometimes he wasn't where he needed to be, right? And that put his team at a disadvantage, and they really struggled at going against the firepower early on, with everything being thrown at them. And that's the downside, right? Like you said, where exactly is the setup for this team, right? Who is the ones that need to find those initiations and everything? Well, it's Cinderella, because otherwise it's hard to really do much. But if Matilda is burnt down in a couple of seconds because of just the itemization, for Vendetta, you can't really do much with a circling eagle, right? You and Promise, like you said, he's playing Uranus, man, but he is getting melted. So at one point, you have to consider, what do we have as a front line? What do we have as initiation? They didn't have much. Whereas on the other side, Vendetta, man, they had CC after CC and options like crazy, not to mention the damage. So if you think back on the team compositions, if things would have went differently for the Simpsons early game, it probably could have been potentially a little bit of a different story. But it always comes down to those minor decision-making moments where you're, again, where are you as a team? Are you synced up the way you need to be from early game up until the late game, hopefully, right? So, and this is the thing, this game, like you said, Vendetta, I don't know what happened there's still chaos with them in the way that they choose things, but still Vendetta's actually looking a lot cleaner today than they have previously. So the Simpsons, it's already a 2-0 at this point. We are going to be getting ready for game 3 here, but the Simpsons need to, again, reset. This is a new game, a new opportunity for them. And even though their previous even though they lost the previous game, their draft was actually pretty pretty decent. Like, it could have worked, right? But they didn't find those check boxes that they needed early game. And so I think they need to kind of consider that going into the next one.
Yeah, and for me personally, I feel like it's going to come down to it almost feels like they kind of don't even they didn't even have a win condition for that last game. It was basically, if we keep dominating and pushing, and push with our lead. The problem is, so many of these games are back and forth. You're gonna have the advantage, you're gonna lose the advantage. But it feels like with some of these compositions, when you don't have that setting potential, when you don't have an Atlas, a Lolita, a Kufra or something that can set, when you have your back against the wall, there really isn't an answer for you that is like, all right, we just need to make sure that we land a Numenon Blast to kind of set this team fight. We just need to make sure that we land a Fatal Lynx or something like that. Whereas the Vendetta had that. Even if they were starting to fall behind, it's like, it's all right, guys, we just need to get a Fatal Lynx, a good Fatal Lynx, and we'll be able to kind of burst them down with that feathered airstrike. We are going to be moving into game 3, but I feel like it's going to be very risky to keep going with that same plan that seems like the side of Vendetta is absolutely prepared for it and has absolutely just had an answer.
There's the ban. So I was like, step number 1, you can just ban the Atlas, right? So the Atlas is actually going to be banned out by the Simpsons. It should be, right? Theo is that's the thing. Theo, he's doing it makes it look like he's doing a better job because of, again, it's a team effort, right? Even if he misses a Fatal Lynx or 2, it's okay because the backup is there from Galaxy, right? And the rest of the team. So you take that out. They also take out the Grok here. I think they really want to force Theo in something that's not so comfortable for him to play, right? And hopefully this allows the Simpsons to build around that, to not worry so much about getting set, to not worry so much about getting basically blasted, right, by Vendetta. So the thing that they can do is, like you mentioned, you got to have that, like, who is your setter, right? Again, Matilda, it can work. We've seen great Matilda play around the world to where they are the sole, like, basically initiator, setter, right? But unfortunately, it didn't work the previous game. So you need kind of that box checked off. And then, because still, Cole World, I mean, even on the Claude game, and then he played Iritho last game, there's moments where Cole World is doing a great job, but unfortunately he gets picked off, right? And as soon as Cole World goes down, unfortunately the rest of the team there, they don't have that marksman, that gold lane to really help them out, turn the tides of those games. So again, you need someone also to not only initiate but possibly peel for Cole World, whoever he decides to pick up, because 1-1 and Melissa are banned. We're possibly going to see another Iritho pick. Paquito is going to be prioritized by Vendetta for first pick. So I think you got to really take care of your gold laner here, right? You really need to keep Cole World safe. We might end up seeing a Valentina Faramis matchup though here, Private.
Yeah, which is going to be very interesting, because if we do see a Valentina or a Faramis picked up by Vendetta, that does mean that you're going to have potentially a Cult Alter and a setting potential from the side of the Simpsons here. If Valentina is going to be using that, grabbing that Cult Alter with the IMU ultimate, they are going to go ahead and pick up Cold World. And I agree with you. As they pick up Claude here, the Cold World, even amidst those last 2 losses, kind of like a shining star in there. There's only so much you can do when you're so far behind. But I mean, we saw it in the first game. That second game, you saw him in a absolutely thankless situation there, where he has to bounce around in between the tower, between 2 enemies, still finds a kill, still finds an escape. But I mean, you're putting a lot on his back if you don't have that peel, if you don't have that setting potential, because you can't really protect him. You're basically at the whim of your enemy and who they're going to want to dive on, because and then you're leaning on Cole World to try to escape, instead of offering that type of support that can kind of help him to kind of secure that escape as well. On the side of Vendetta, we do see them picking up this Julian again already, man. Julian and Paquito. I know we're not going to have as much damage from Julian just because, wait. Well, it depends on where they're going to put that. Pogi pick up Julian, so I'm assuming that Julian is going to be jungle, so we are going to have that same damage. But then on the other side, we have Galaxy on Paquito as well, and I don't even think it matters. I know he gets up there fast when he's a jungler, but even in side lane, I mean, he's a menace even for Esmeralda and Uranus to have to deal with, because you can't out heal something if you're not given the chance, because he bursts you down so quickly. So I mean, already right now, huge damage, huge DPS coming from the side of Vendetta here, and we're definitely going to see, especially because you pick up the Faramis here on the side of the Simpsons, and I always feel like the biggest counter for Cult Alter,
your kit, right? You not only can provide a lot of damage, but you can also peel, you can engage with the enhanced chains. There's a lot you can do with that. So pairing that up with a Paquito, eventually, you know, we're assuming the Paquito is going in the side lane as Galaxy has it. It could just work really well. So how do you... Vendetta, I feel like, is in a good department to counterplay against that Faramis Valentina combo. Now, the thing is, if you're the Valentina, whose ultimate are you going to be trying to take? Because right now, there's not great options. You know, you could probably take Julian's for now, but still, there's not... right now, depending on the last two picks, there isn't the easiest case scenario. So, interestingly enough, too, it is going to be a Gushin locked in here. I'm assuming, I don't know. I want to assume that this could be a jungle Gushin, right? So, I mean, same thing. I actually feel like Gushin, from what I've seen from other MPL regions too, I actually feel like Gushin can work in the jungle. The downside is, if you get behind, it's really hard to contest objectives. Like, yeah, you have that whole dagger placement and you're able to get in, kind of zip in and zip out with your kit, but he's so squishy that if you do get behind as a jungler, it's pretty tough. Whereas when we saw him in the mid lane yesterday, even from behind, I think at one point he was 0-2, he was able to crawl back up to like a 5-3 KDA. So that's something that I'm interested to see if it does go into jungle here, right? But last two picks, private, locked in by Vendetta.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been pretty much a great formula for them. A well-rounded damage and setting potential from them. I mean, you banned out the Atlas, but then they go ahead and, like I was talking about before, they pick up a Lolita, has that Numenon Blast that can set up for you. So they have something there that as far as a setting potential, as a win condition there, and then picking up the Kagura, which is we've just got I feel like, as far as damage goes, Vendetta throughout the entirety of this game, you've got the early game, you've got the mid, you've got the late game for them. You're really going to need a surprise out of the Simpsons. I mean, they continue with this formula of I feel like they need an advantage, that they want to put on pressure, and they want to keep that pressure on until the end game, not giving their opponents a chance to breathe. The problem is, like I said, you've already have two matches with them. You've already seen how they react to this stuff. You've seen how they've gone. They're eventually going to get the advantage at some point. What do you do from behind for that? Maybe potentially using this Cult Alter as a type of counter to the engagements. So like you're luring them back potentially into your towers or something, but we're going to see if they have what it takes, because this is make or break time for the Simpsons, potentially the last match of this series.
Interesting too, I'm not sure if you caught that as we load up in here to game number 3. It's Galaxy on side lane Julian, right? And yes, it is a jungle Gushin. So that's quite interesting to see how this is gonna play out and how everything goes on in the early game, because again, still, you know, Cinderella and Nate, that is a pretty deadly early game matchup, right? It depends how they play this, but good thing for Vendetta is they have Theo on this Lolita to help out. Already though, a lot of poking.
Oh yeah, Nate actually taking a heap of damage. He's gonna have just a tiny bit of health left there before he's gonna have to go back. Oh. I spoke too soon as that sniper-like flame shot ejects from Shiki and is able to find the kill in the opening seconds of this game. More damage still yet going on to Cinderella. Can't decide which direction he wants to go. Trying to out-juke this Umbrella, but still taking a heap of damage. Luckily for Cinderella, there is not that short of a cooldown on a flame shot.
Calculated is what Shiki said. So, you know, that's again, that's not something you want to happen for the Simpsons this early on. Now, this is where that Gusion pick comes in, because I feel like, you know, theme of the day, high risk, high reward. It's one of those picks that can help you snowball really quickly.
Yeah, and we see Cinderella's going to have to expend that flicker as he gets popped up by Galaxy and that enhanced chains of that Julian there. We already see the jungle starting to be invaded there. Poggy going ahead, picking up a minion there. Simpsons are just kind of come just a few seconds too late there to actually do much about it. We have 6 seconds left on this turtle, and you have to wonder who's going to be in a better position for it, because as you were saying already, Gusion, not really one of those. Oh, okay, now we see a fight coming in. We see Lapu coming in there. Promise going to go ahead and put on the damage. Is not able to find a kill. Is going to be able to force out the flicker from the side of Vendetta there. And now they're going to move on to this turtle. Puggy trying to get the turtle in good position. Both teams kind of vying for the attention of the turtle right now. Cinderella already at less than half health right now. Does still have that Cold Altar. Here comes the Numenon Blast. Cold Altar has been activated, but nobody finds it. So it was just Cinderella by themselves. Fallen actually able to get the turtle. In comes Promise with a heck of a lot of damage there. Does find the stun onto Galaxy there, who's going to go ahead and find an escape. So, I mean, we were talking about the turtle. I wasn't a believer, but able to pick it up there. Cold World and Yuna finding some damage in there. So they get the first turtle. It's 2-1. Still kind of keeping up right now is the side of the Simpsons.
You weren't a believer, huh? Well, I mean, like, that's the thing. They even it out a little bit. That's working good. Galaxy probably going to be in a little bit trouble here. There's the flicker in. So nice pickup by Promise, right? So that's going to give him that advantage too in that XP lane, which is crucial because Lapu we've actually seen play here in the Philippines with him, and it works out. So already the fact that he has 2 kills is actually going to be quite deadly, at least for the matchup. So if Vendetta wants to handle that and stop that from really kind of getting out of control, they're going to have to send a member there, and that's exactly what you see Galaxy doing here with Poggy. They got to pay attention to that.
Yeah, Shiki just wide, being a little clever with that flame shot, trying to find it again. And we do see that Paquito, Poggy, gets taken out down at the bottom here by Lapu. We are still putting pressure onto this mid lane. You see an Umbrella connecting with Nate, but the rest of Vendetta going to go ahead and disengage from that and reset on the map.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would say that this is a pretty, so far for an early game, this is pretty lax, right? It's nothing too crazy so far, nothing too out of the woods, but Fallen might be looking, hey, he's gonna miss the dagger.
Yeah, and it does give just that moment of hesitation, that missing that dagger does give that warning to Galaxy. Is going to allow him to go ahead and find an escape there as well. And those are those little things that you kind of have to be wary of. You need to be on your P's and Q's. You need to be able to land those, especially on a team like Vendetta, who's not going to allow you to and going to punish you for those mistakes as well. We are setting up for this next hurdle right now. You do see the rest of the Simpsons trying to get in position. A little bit of a better job done by Fallen right now, who is in position here, is ready with his team for this turtle. Lying in wait is Theo, trying to give vision of a turtle now at half health. We do see an Umbrella going on to Cinderella. It is getting pulled back. Here comes the Numenon Blast. Out comes the Cold Altar. It's going to be enough. Fallen able to pick up that turtle. Great positioning for him right there. Theo is going to try to use that bulwark, but it is not able to kind of really protect it. Up at the top, though, you see Yuna putting the boots onto that tower. Promise trying to back off there as well from the bottom. Cold World is going to have to find himself a quick escape back to the base to get healed up from that damage. Second objective goes into the hands of the Simpsons as well, and they are starting to edge out a lead.
That was, I mean, that was a funny interaction between the two Numenon Blasts, but I mean, it's Vendetta trying to make a play here. Promise.
Yeah, Promise does activate that Bravest Fighter to take out Julian there, is able to take down Galaxy and the rest right now. I mean, they're doing a much better job, especially I want to say Promise right now, who has just been a menace right now for the side of Vendetta. You do see Cinderella's going to get caught, but a Numenon Blast gets taken out with a combination of that Numenon Blast and the Umbrella. So they make quick work of them. And I want to say that right now, I kind of feel like Cinderella maybe being a little bit quick on that trigger, going out a little faster, a little ahead of her teammate, and continues to kind of find Vendetta. And they put Cinderella in an uncompromising position there because there's nobody else to kind of help out. So she takes another death there as well. It is a 3-4 game at this point, just under 1,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, the further that Promise goes on this Lapu Lapu pick it's actually quite scary, right? I mean, it's not a hero that you see picked up often, but when it is usually quite effective. Now, again, you know, how will that play out into the mid to late game? We'll have to see, right? Because right now he's stacked in terms of just economy and everything for him, but in the mid lane,
yeah, Shiki gets taken out from Fallen, who is just doing an amazing job. Here comes the Numenon Blast, though. Pogi coming in. The Numenon Blast lands, and Pogi able to clean up 2 kills right now. Cinderella trying to juke and jive, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. In comes Promise. Bravest Fighter has been activated. Heavy Sword Stats has come in, but Pogi able to find himself and escape there as well. And man, just right now, able to answer back. A great set right there from the side of Vendetta, which is going to go ahead and enable a very clean turtle take for them.
I don't know if Pogi's name is because of the word poggers, but that was poggers, dude. Like, the fact that was so lined up with Theo and Poggy, the Numenon Blast, and then literally it was just a heyday for him. You know, the 1-2 punch on 3 members, and that was just beautiful to see as they pick up Cinderella here too. So, you know, Vendetta, man, in the past minute, just swinging things around. And now this is the time, right? Promise has 4 kills. You got to do something with it here.
Yeah, Yuna trying to escape this. Oh, Promise with some great moves there. Is able to catch Yuna, but the tower does the job for her. Is able to take down Lapu, and it looks like Promise has met his match in the tower right now. Shiki gets taken down as well, so it is still an 8-6 game. The Simpsons are still in it right now. Are they going to be able to get away? Fallen thinks twice about trying to teleport from that bush right now. The rest of the Simpsons are coming in right now. We do see that Call Ultra has been activated. Fallen gets taken out by Galaxy. Here comes the Numenon Blast of their own. Nate with a beautiful flicker out of the Numenon Blast with a Numenon Blast of his own. Nate gets taken out though. Cinderella follows shortly behind, and that BMI activated by Cold World to get out of danger's way there. And it is an 11-7 game right now, Naisu.
Man, talk about just, again, chaos in every lane so far. I mean, it was quite easy and chill. I mean, Shiki's going to be in trouble here. Promise grabbing another one. I mean, there's nothing Theo can really do there in that 1v1 situation. But going back to the point, I mean, it was pretty quiet early game. And then now it's just everywhere. Something is happening, right? So this is going to be, again, crucial moment. Promise at this point is kind of that front line, but he also has a ton of damage every time he pops that ultimate, right? So they can work around that. He can really help them secure this Lord. So I really want to see Promise clear that lane out, possibly get the turret, and then transition to the Lord fight, because I feel like he's going to be crucial in terms of the Simpsons actually contesting that. But he is going to keep Galaxy there on the top side.
Yeah, and we do see that this next Lord, has popped up. This is going to be make or break time for the Simpsons to kind of get that advantage. Cinderella already getting taken out by Pogi there. Numenon Blast does not connect with anybody, and you see a Numenon Blast coming out for the side of the Simpsons as well from that IMU. They are thinking twice about finishing up on this Lord, as they're going to go ahead and turn their attention to try to push a lane to get them some type of wiggle room for when they're taking out this Lord. You DC in the back line, well in the back. Galaxy kind of up there trying to push lanes as well. It's going to give them some wiggle room. We are down to less than half health on this Lord. In comes Cold World. He's coming in with that blazing duet. Promise able to pick up the Lord right now. And you see a kill onto Pogi. Shiki follows closely behind. And Theo, it is a Lord, but you lose 3 players for it right now, as the rest of the Simpsons are chasing down Vendetta. And man, right now, a great play by them to be able to pick off 3 players unanswered for this on the side of Vendetta.
And see what I said? I said I'd love to see Promise in that Lord fight. And, you know, he was there, helped convert things for them. Gold lead now almost very minuscule at this point. So they can play around this, even though it's only the first Lord of the game. Helps them grab that tier 1 mid turret. That's going to help them with space. It is going to get taken out really quickly, but they can still manage this, right? Manage the push a little bit, take some more resources. They might even take the red buff here over from Vendetta. So this is going to be big for them if they can continue on the onslaught here.
Yeah, you see Promise coming in with that bravest fighter. I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to get out of this. Oh, Landshaker does come out with the raging slash there as well, but it's not gonna be enough to help him out as 3 members of Vendetta close ranks around him. So I mean, he gets caught there. I mean, he's still at 6-2 right now. Right now, probably the highlight of the Simpsons team right now. He's just having such a great game, especially with all that Lapu, a well-farmed Lapu can bring to the table. Tankiness, damage, and a nice bit of CC from him.
Yeah, I gotta say, you know, Promise is a very promising player because he had a great performance even yesterday, right? But right now, he's kind of the weight is on his shoulders, but eventually Cold World is already at the point where, you know, at least he hasn't died yet. He's starting to itemize pretty well. 12 minutes in the game. That could be a huge factor for them if they can find the proper setup here, though.
Yeah, Puggy's gonna get caught with a Numenon Blast from the side of the Simpsons. Our Numenon Blast comes out from actual Lolita, and Cinderella's actually gonna have to use a flicker to get out of the way. We have minions pushing at the top. Cold World's gonna go up there. Does he realize that Galaxy is in the push? Oh, a beautifully fast PMI from him is gonna get him out of harm's way, but they do lose that tower for it.
So we see it's pretty much dead even, right? We see Vendetta trying to make plays where they can, whether that's pickoffs, whether that's just grabbing turrets, grabbing more space around the map. Next Lord's going to be about 30 seconds away. I'm sure you're going to see both teams just clashing out for that. Again, Promise is going to be an integral, critical part of winning that, possibly the next Lord fight, right? So if either team can grab a pickoff or at the very least get some flickers out or ultimates, that's going to give them whatever advantage they can for that Lord fight. So that's why you see them pretty much trying to get in position around here. If they can grab a pick, great. If they can't, then fight it out and have as many resources and ultimates as you possibly can. Here we go. The Simpsons already giving it a go.
Yeah, but you see that Cold Altar comes out. Only Promise was able to kind of latch onto that. Numenon Blast comes in from and Promise is going to dive well into the back line. Shiki trying to take some damage. Ooh, Cinderella gets taken out right now, and this Lord goes over to the side of Vendetta. I believe Galaxy able to pick that up right now, and they are trying to clean house right now. Poggy, bases. Oh no, Galaxy gets the base. This is 3-game a sweep for Vendetta, takes out the Simpsons.
Yeah, I mean, no one was expecting the backdoor maneuver coming out from Galaxy on the Julian, man. I mean, it just happened out of nowhere, right? He was making his way there in that team fight, but I think Galaxy knew, like, we know Promise is going to want to be at that Lord fight. I was saying that, right? So knowing that, why don't we just have Galaxy, you know, walk down that bottom lane and just end the game, sweep the series like that? That was the assignment. He did it.
And what an amazing play by them too. And here's the thing too. They kind of won that Lord fight as well. So they were already taking out members of the Simpsons. So even without that split push from Galaxy there, but that was just a cherry on top. Is Galaxy just that forward thinking? There's like, we're gonna keep them engaged here. Galaxy's gonna go from the back. It just amazing job and games by Vendetta there as well. The last bit kind of tipping them over the edge when it comes to the damage, but a much better better defense from the side of the Simpsons. Unfortunately, there can be only one winner here tonight for this series, and that is Vendetta. And just like the great setting potentials, the damage we were talking about coming out from both of these guys. I mean, not so much. I mean, Puggy was able to still find a decent amount. You can see there the higher score kind of on Theo for those setups and the stuns that they were able to land. It was just an amazing job done by Vendetta here.
Yeah, so like I was talking about, you know, it's pretty risky to lock in what the Simpsons did. Not only with the Valentina and a Faramis combination, but also having a jungle Gushin. Promise did an amazing job on the Lapu Lapu. He again was kind of had a lot of weight on his shoulder here, but I mean that Theo Poggy connection there was a critical moment in the game too, where things kind of just started to snowball, even with Promise there and everything else. I just feel like, again, in the department for the Simpsons, they just kind of lacked really that well-rounded kind of team composition to face what was ahead of them. And yeah, they had their moments too, right? Again, Cold World still having one of those very similar games where he's kind of popping off, right? He's got a great KDA, he's got the items he needs, but unfortunately, once you use that Blazing Duet, you know, what else can you do, right? There's not much more that you can do, and the rest of the team kind of has to be there for you for that. But unfortunately for Nate, you know, it's more about trying to get that Numen on Blast set up if you can, and then everything else hopefully falls into place. But unfortunately for them, you know, it didn't happen this time, and now they've got to say goodbye to their time.
Yeah, unfortunate for the Simpsons, but I mean, a great job by Vendetta. I mean, and definitely a much cleaner game than we saw yesterday. They really kind of like redeemed themselves with those last plays. It was just an amazing thing to watch there from them, especially seeing them against the Simpsons with such an amazing display of I want to say, maybe not something so outside the box from them, but a greatly executed game with a decent composition, a well-rounded composition. Like, it was textbook, and textbook is textbook for. But man, we're gonna give it away to Assassin Dave right now. What some great matches we got tonight.
Hey.
All right, but man, like we were saying, there was some great matches there, and man, we're gonna be moving on. We already know what's coming next for North America is they're the first and only live finals are going to be coming, and it's been a wonderful and long journey for this. For North America. I know, Naisu, you've been a huge fan already. You've already shown, and we've appreciated and seen the great support that you have for it for us.
Yeah, man, I mean, it's crazy that I've been involved for 3 NACTs, but before I talk more about that, the viewers out there, we've got a surprise giveaway for you guys. Redeem the code to get the Savage Point Guard Ballman skin. That's that amazing basketball-themed Ballman. There's only 30 winners, so go ahead, first come, first serve, redeem the link in the description, and good luck, because I'm sure there's plenty of people trying to get that. And going back to the point, man, I gotta say, I've loved to see the progression of NACT, the teams and everything else. And I hope it continues to grow, honestly, right? And I can't wait I wish I could be there for the grand finals, you know, with you guys in Vegas and everything else. I've been wanting to fly back to the US and visit family and everything. But hopefully next season for you guys, next year, whichever it is. But I think this is a big part, a big moment for the NA region. I think you can say there's a lot of interest there. There's also a lot of talent there. It just needs to be refined and developed a little bit more. And I think these are the steps towards that. So I think you guys are doing an amazing job, and I love watching it. So there you go. NA Grand Finals is in 2 weeks. That's Sunday, October 30th, man.
Yeah. And man, it has been a great night for matches. Any final thoughts from you, Naisu?
Final thoughts, loved it. Good luck in the grand finals, everybody. Thank you for watching and supporting, of course. And of course to you guys too, Private and everybody, Dave, Trex, all the casters involved in eStars. Thank you for having me, man. It's been a pleasure.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the fun does not stop here. The fall season of NACT is still ongoing. You were just talking about it. Las Vegas, October 30th begins North America's first ever LAN event. The only real question is, are you guys, the viewers, any one of you guys going to be there? Because I know I will, and I can't wait to see the rest of you guys there as well. Good night, North America.